While the spotlight often shines on the intense rivalries or dark struggles of Hollywood, there's a side to the film industry that's filled with uplifting moments of camaraderie and support. From Denzel Washington paying for Chadwick Boseman's theater classes in college to Keanu Reeves refusing to hurl sexual insults at Winona Ryder on the set of Dracula, these are some inspiring stories that will melt your heart. In 1984, Sigourney Weaver was already a well-known actor, but Ghostbusters was her first foray into comedy films. In a YouTube cast interview, she recalled receiving some unexpected advice from her co-star Bill Murray during one of the scenes. "It was maybe the second scene. I was preparing because I'd gone to drama school. I had to re-experience the terror dogs in the refrigerator. But Bill came over and turning to Murray, 'I don't know if you remember this, Bill, but you said, 'What are you doing?' I said, 'I'm preparing.' You replied, 'You're what?' I repeated, 'I'm preparing.' Then you started tickling and shaking me, and it hit me. You can't approach comedy the same way. It's ridiculous to prepare like that." Even though the scene was more intense and frightening than others in the movie, Murray's advice was to lighten up and not take the comedy elements so seriously. During the filming of That Thing You Do in 1996, the four young actors playing the band The Wonders all arrived late on set one day. Instead of getting upset, Tom Hanks, who was directing, offered them some important advice. As Steve Zahn recalled, "We got called into one of our trailers and Tom was so nice. He sat us down and said, 'That's the last time that'll ever happen.' What he really meant was, 'This is the last time you'll get away with that in your career. I'm giving you some advice. Show up, know your stuff, be cool, don't be a jerk,' all those things." He was really like a dad. Hanks, known for emphasizing punctuality in his speeches and interviews, left a lasting impression on Zahn and his co-stars with this guidance. A controversy arose over the pay disparities during the reshoots of the 2017 film All the Money in the World. It was reported that Mark Wahlberg earned $1.5 million for the reshoots, while Michelle Williams was paid just $1,000, amounting to about $80 per day. In response to the outcry, Wahlberg donated his entire $1.5 million fee to the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund in Williams's name. He expressed his 100% support for the fight for fair pay and his willingness to do whatever he could to support his co-star. Additionally, William Morris Endeavor, WME, the talent agency representing both actors, contributed $500,000 to the fund. Williams responded to the gesture with gratitude, saying, "If we truly envision an equal world, it takes equal effort and sacrifice. Today is one of the most indelible days of my life because of Mark Wahlberg, WME, and a community of women and men who share in this accomplishment." Lauren Ridloff made history as the first deaf superhero in Marvel's cinematic universe with her role in the 2021 film Eternals. While filming, she had no trouble hitting her cues when facing her fellow actors, but one particular scene where she had to face a wall posed a unique challenge. Ridloff shared with co-star Angelina Jolie how difficult it was to act when she couldn't hear the director call action. Jolie quickly came up with a solution to make the process easier, as Ridloff recalled. "At one point, I was sharing my frustration with Angie at a holiday party after a day of shooting, and she immediately made a suggestion. Why don't we use a laser pen that special effects can easily erase? It was an aha wow moment. Whenever I was looking at a wall, the interpreters would use a laser pen to make a circle on the wall, rolling, 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 and when it disappeared, that meant action." This simple but brilliant idea helped Ridloff navigate the challenge and continue delivering her performance seamlessly. Ian McKellen fondly recalled how Alan Rickman stood up for him during the read-through for Rasputin. On McKellen's first day in front of the camera, Rickman noticed the director giving him a condescending note. Sensing McKellen's disappointment, Rickman stepped in. Alan, seeing I was a little crestfallen, delivered a quiet, concise resume of my career and loudly demanded that the director up his game. McKellen also shared a heartwarming story about the thoughtful welcome dinner Rickman arranged when McKellen arrived on set. When he played Rasputin, I was Tsar Nicholas. Filming had already begun before I got to St. Petersburg. As soon as I walked into my hotel room, the phone rang. It was Alan calling to say, "Welcome, hope the flight was tolerable," and to invite me to join him, Greta Scacchi, and others for dinner in 30 minutes, Alan, the concerned leading man. In 2017, singer and actor Selena Gomez faced a life-threatening situation where she needed a kidney transplant due to complications from lupus. Her kidneys were failing, and she had developed arthritis, but she found it too difficult to ask anyone to donate a kidney. However, her best friend and roommate at the time, actor Phylicia Rashad, offered to help. Gomez recalled, "She lived with me during this difficult time when my kidneys were failing. That was it, and I didn't want to ask anyone to donate. The thought of asking somebody to do that was really hard for me, but she volunteered and did it. The fact that she was a match is unbelievable." Rashad admitted she feared for her own health during the process and even wrote a will in case things went wrong. Today, Gomez credits Rashad with saving her life, allowing her to continue pursuing her acting and singing careers. While filming the 1992 movie Bram Stoker's Dracula, Winona Ryder struggled to cry during a scene where Dracula transforms into a pile of rats. Director Francis Ford Coppola, wanting her to express more shock and emotion, resorted to yelling insults at her in an attempt to make her cry. Coppola even encouraged other cast members to join in, but Ryder wasn't moved to tears, thanks in part to Keanu Reeves, who refused to participate. Ryder later explained, "To put it in context, I'm supposed to be crying. Literally Richard E. Grant, Anthony Hopkins, Keanu. Francis was trying to get all of them to yell things that would make me cry. But Keanu wouldn't, Anthony wouldn't. It just didn't work. I was like, really?" Instead of causing tension, this incident had the opposite effect, helping to strengthen the bond between Ryder and Reeves, who developed a close friendship during filming. Emma Thompson began her career as a comedian, focusing on the absurd societal expectations surrounding women's appearances. Later, while filming the 2008 drama Brideshead Revisited, she had an opportunity to address this issue directly. During production, the producers suggested that another actor should lose some weight for the role. Thompson immediately intervened, recalling, "I said to them, if you speak to her about this again on any level, I will leave this picture. You are never to do that. It's evil what's happening, and it's getting worse. There are so many kids, girls and boys now, and actresses who are very, very thin into their 30s who simply don't eat." Thompson also mentioned that when asked about her weight for acting roles, she chooses not to engage, firmly refusing to answer such questions. During the production of Singin' in the Rain in the 1950s, a young Debbie Reynolds found Gene Kelly, the film's star and co-director, to be quite demanding. At just 19 years old and with no prior dancing experience, she struggled to keep up with her more seasoned co-stars. Although Reynolds later acknowledged that Kelly's tough lessons ultimately improved her skills as a performer, she was often exhausted and overwhelmed, pushing herself to the point where her feet bled, and she found it difficult to move. Doctors even prescribed bed rest for 2 days. In her memoir, she wrote, "I had 3 months to learn what Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor had been doing for years. I was dancing for 8 hours a day, non-stop. One day I was lying under the piano sobbing when I heard a voice ask, 'Why are you crying?' The voice belonged to the legendary dancer Fred Astaire, who happened to be in the studio preparing for royal wedding. Astaire quickly offered his support, reassuring her that he too experienced frustration, and invited her to watch his rehearsal to help her learn. His encouragement and guidance proved invaluable, helping Reynolds master the dance moves for Singin' in the Rain." The late actor Chadwick Boseman received numerous accolades for his performances in films such as Black Panther, Marshall, and 42. However, his journey to success was supported in a significant way by another esteemed actor, Denzel Washington. While studying at Howard University, Boseman's professor, Phylicia Rashad, who is best known for her role on The Cosby Show, reached out to some of her celebrity friends to sponsor students for a summer program at the British American Drama Academy. Washington readily agreed to support Boseman. During a speech at the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award presentation honoring Washington, Boseman shared his gratitude. Washington graciously and privately agreed to contribute. Imagine receiving a letter that your tuition for that summer was paid for, and that your benefactor was none other than the dopest actor on the planet. There is no Black Panther without Denzel Washington, and not just because of me. My whole cast, that generation, stands on your shoulders. During the filming of the monsoon scene in Jumanji in 1995, producers approached the families of the child actors, asking for permission to extend their working hours to complete filming more quickly. While this approach would save money by wrapping up in a single day, it also put added pressure on the already exhausted kids. Bradley Pierce, who portrayed young Peter Shepard, recalled how Robin Williams stepped in to protect the young actors. He explained, "Robin caught wind of these conversations happening and apparently pulled the director and producers aside and said, 'No, we're not doing any extra time. You're going to let everyone out of the pool now, and we're going to come back next week.' For all the dollars that would have cost, nobody else could have stood up the way he did." Sarah Paulson and Pedro Pascal first met in the early 1990s, quickly forming a close friendship as they both sought to establish their careers in the industry. After returning to his native Chile following his mother's death, Pascal moved back to New York in 2000. During this challenging time, as he auditioned for roles, Pascal faced difficulties securing parts. Paulson reflected on her friend's struggles in an April 2023 interview with Esquire, sharing, "There were times when I would give him my per diem from a job I was working on so that he could have money to feed himself." While Paulson expressed admiration for Pascal's eventual success, she also acknowledged the intensity of his rise to fame. "It's just so psychotic. Everybody wants a piece of him. You just want him to succeed. And that, to me, I feel like is the sign of a major movie star." Her words highlight not only Pascal's talent, but also the genuine support and care that exists within their friendship.